Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Cornelian, WCRI's Communications Director. Today, we're excited to spotlight Jack Nolish, Director of Michigan's Workers' Disability Compensation Agency, a longtime WCRI member. With over 50 years in workers' compensation, Jack's journey began as an attorney representing injured workers. He served on Michigan's Workers' Disability Compensation Agency Board of Magistrates since 2003, later becoming chairperson and director. After a stint as deputy director, he was reappointed as director of the Michigan Workers' Disability Compensation Agency in 2020. Under his leadership, the agency ensures that injured workers receive the benefits they deserve. Jack has also led the International Association of Industrial Accident Boards and Commissioners, otherwise known as the IAIBC, and is a sought-after expert in the field. Jack, it's great to have you with us today. Let's dive into our 4 spotlight questions. Number 1, how did you first hear about WCRI?
I was puzzling over that question, Andrew, and thank you for the splendid introduction. I was puzzling over that very question, and I suspect it came up when I became chair of the Board of Magistrates in 2004 or 5. That way I started to get involved in larger scale meetings outside of just being a practitioner and being on the bench. So it has to be somewhere around there.
Okay.
And then when I became director, I started relying on publications, and the semi-annual meetings is a good place to exchange information, meeting some other people on various levels. Yeah, it's been a great experience for me, and I rely on you guys all the time.
Oh, well, we love to hear that. So that flows kind of into my next question. What value do you gain from being a WCRI member?
Well, just that. You get to hear other ideas. You get to find out information from other states and areas. Yeah, it's been particularly useful. One of the issues I have to contend with in dealing with the business community is our costs relative to other states.
Right.
And the WCRI documentation has been very helpful in addressing those issues. Because the last several years, we seem to be in the bottom of the cost figures, and the business community is very pleased to hear that.
All right. And so I guess if you were to name a favorite study or research area, what would that be, Jack?
Well, the 2 CompScopes.
Okay.
The overall CompScope and the
CompScope benchmarks
medical,
and then CompScope medical benchmarks. Yeah.
Those are the ones I use the most. The multi-state study of different statutes comes in handy.
Okay.
Because sometimes if we're working on legislation, one of the things I hear is, well, what do the other states do?
Of course, yeah.
And the answer is, well, I could spend a bunch of time on Westlaw trying to figure that out, or I could haul out the WCRI study, which is much easier. Yeah, very handy.
So this would be our national workers' comp laws?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Exactly. So CompScope and national workers' comp laws. And I guess, can you share an example of how WCRI's research has been particularly helpful to you?
Well, one of the discussions we've been having in Michigan is about workers' compensation reform. There's been many legislative changes in the last couple of decades, that have impacted on eligibility for benefits, the amount of benefits received, and the challenges of litigation. The things that show up in WCRI documentation, such as our weekly compensation rate versus the nationals, and how many people within those drawing weekly benefits are affected by the maximum rate. That's the kind of information I can't generate out of our own system on a comparative basis. So I've been able to use that. In fact, I used one of the slides recently in some testimony I gave at the State Senate Labor Committee in December. So great. It's very handy. I do it all the time.
And do you feel that's a big question also for dealing with state legislators? How do we compare?
Oh, all the time.
Yes.
Because as you're, I'm sure, well aware, workers' compensation is a competitive issue in business analysis.
Yeah.
And it is one area of competition. And early on, I think when I first started reading this, one of the quotes I still use from WCRI was that Michigan's workers' compensation is a competitive advantage in Michigan. Great quote when I'm arguing about whether or not our system is unfair. It's not. at least from the business perspective. Absolutely. So I use those charts. I give at least 4 addresses a year. Every one of them has a WCRI chart in it.
Wow,
Of
that's
one kind or
impressive.
another. Yep.
All right. Well,
As recently as last Friday.
that's great.
and,
Yes,
and I'm going to be quoting from the new CompScope in our upcoming annual report. So I don't know what I'd do without you guys.
Well, we're happy that you're a member, and I'm so glad that you took the time to chat with us today, just to share a little bit of the value that you have for the research, and obviously you're using it quite often. And we just want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us today, and for your continued and strong support at WCRI, Jack.
Okay, I'm a fan. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Have a great day. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew.